Hello, welcome back, everybody. Today, I am Jeffrey Harris. On the other side of the line is Jay Snook um, of the Good Men Project. This is Hollywood Purgatory. This is where the entertainment industry comes to get judged. We are back today, and this is a special episode because it is Monday, April 30th. Avengers Infinity War, one of the biggest movies probably ever is out. It's out in theaters. It's out in the lexicon, and we can talk about it now finally. And this is going to be our special spoiler cast. Now, if you don't know the drill before, when we do a spoiler cast, we'll take like a specific episode, finale, or movie, and we're going to do just like a deep dive discussion. Everything is on the table to discuss. So this will be a spoiler cast, so we will be discussing deep into spoiler territory. But look, the movie's out. Most of you have seen it. If you haven't,
it's best to just mute it or just cover your ears.
All right, what do we like to do on this show?
Earmuffs.
Earmuffs, like Jay says. Jay, welcome back. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
You got some Nintendo gear on today. I like it.
I finally started playing Mario Odyssey last night. It's an amazing game.
You got the Odyssey shirt, and you have the Legend of Zelda pendant, the Triforce. What do the Triforce stand for, Jay?
It was wisdom, courage, and power.
Very nice, very nice. So great. And of course, I'm wearing an Astros hat. And all right. So Avengers: Infinity War. This is what the Marvel Universe has been building to for 10 years. Ever since Iron Man first came out, Iron Man was the first movie to start a self-contained cinematic universe where Marvel Studios could produce their own films using their characters, and their adventures could unfold all in the same storyline in one film series. And it's been going on for 10 years. 10 years and 18 films. Infinity War is the 18th, and it's still going, Jay. We are only in phase 3 right now. We're still in the middle of phase 3. They've got phase 4. Phase 4 will start, I guess, with
Did they say Iron Man 4?
No, phase 4 will start with Spider-Man Homecoming 2.
Oh.
It ends with Avengers 4 next year. And then it will start with the new phase. Phase 4 will be Spider-Man Homecoming. So we're still in phase 3. So this is just going to keep going. This thing that Marvel Studios has started, and it's pretty unprecedented. There have been
what I can say about this movie is, because we've talked about it for a couple of weeks now, I knew it was going to be brutal, but I had no idea it was going to be as brutal as it was.
Right.
I had no idea.
Right. I think
saw it coming.
This movie was like one big kick in the crotch, wasn't it?
It was just I would say it's more of a bloodbath. It's just what it is.
More. I felt, but don't you feel like walking out of the movie, it's like a funeral, isn't it?
It was more like just like soul crushing was what it was. It really was.
But
my soul was crushed for hours afterwards.
But I saw the movie again last night in IMAX, and this is a full-size IMAX theater at Universal City Walk. And leaving that theater, everyone was just silent and somber. Like this is a theater of 400 people, and everyone walking out, like you could hear a pin drop. Basically, there was everyone, and that never happens. That never happens. And I saw the movie twice. I got to see the movie earlier at the El Capitan in Hollywood. I got to see it early. And here's what really... Now, I'll tell you my story. I got really angry because this was a press screening from Disney, and we had an embargo. Sometimes the studios or the PR reps will say, like, you'll have a review embargo, so you can't post your coverage until such and such date. You get stuff like that, right? Okay, so we had an embargo this date of like 3 p.m. And then Forbes, the website Forbes, the business trade journal, at 10 a.m. that day, California time, they release a spoiler report with all the spoilers for the movie. And this was on Tuesday. The movie came out
Thursday.
Technically Thursday if you count the early screenings on Thursday. So I mean that really ticked me off. The spoiler report got deleted, And John Campia talked about it on his channel. But I mean, doesn't that just make you angry? I mean, yeah, we're doing a spoiler cast, but I mean, the movie's out and it's been out for a few days now, and now we're talking about it. But to do that before it came out, before the embargo was even up, I mean, that's disgusting. What do you think about that?
I think it sadly doesn't surprise me because it happens here too. I mean, I remember when I saw Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Okay.
They said very clearly, don't spoiler the Johnny Depp thing, and someone somewhere did. So I wasn't that surprised it happened, but it is messed up. It's messed up it happened, yes.
I'm just like, but this is Forbes. This is like a business trade journal. Like, why are they even doing that? You know?
Because they want to get clickbait. That's
I know they want it. I know they want. I know you do that for the clicks, but they ended up deleting this anyway. So,
or because they got like,
to me, if you're gonna have embargoes, if you're gonna have restrictions, like there have to be consequences. Yeah. And as far as I know,
they probably got threatened to be sued or something.
I hope they were. I hope.
Well, it's Disney. Disney doesn't put up with that stuff. Whenever I see a Disney screen, they keep our phones most of the time. There's a reason for that.
They checked our. In fact, I'll tell you what. For this screening, the security there was very tight. We had metal detectors, and they took our phones and they put them in these security locked bags.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
There are these like mesh pouches. And you put your phone in, and it had a lock on it, and you couldn't open it up until you left the theater, and security would give it a special key swipe to unlock the. That's how tight the security was.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because, like I said, when I see screenings in Sacramento, they always like keep our phones and put them in Ziploc bags until the end of the movie.
Okay.
He doesn't like having their stuff being.
I want to know before we like get into this discussion. I want to know when you saw it and what that. Just the general experience of when you got to see it was like.
I saw it on Friday. It was in the morning, so there actually wasn't a lot of people there.
Right.
But yeah, it's funny. Like there's memes like where it's like you see like Thor like before it and after it. They're actually pretty legit.
That's like that kind of like Thor's like, oh, I'm all happy and excited, and then after he's like.
Yeah, that's actually pretty legit because that's actually how I felt. I was really excited to see it. The 2.5 hours flew by, but when it was over, I was like numb. I was like, holy crap.
I said in my review, this is the most emotional Marvel movie to date. Would you agree?
I said that in a short video I did on Facebook. I was like, it was soul crushing. It was just like
it's devastating.
Yeah, devastating. Well, the weird thing about it, before we get into it, is it happens so early, so sudden, and it doesn't really stop until the end.
Doesn't.
And you think like and you think, okay, that's it. And then the ending is so devastating. You're like, holy crap! It's just like punch, but just throwing the punches at you.
Game of Thrones.
No more. I can't take any more.
Game of Thrones has nothing on Infinity War, does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Red Wedding. This makes Red Wedding look like kindergarten, don't you think?
Yeah, it does. It makes it look like a happy-go-lucky time. This is just like, geez.
But again, it's like you're getting kicked in the gut just nonstop in this movie.
It's nice.
But I guess so. We'll just go ahead and from the top.
Yeah, the basic top is because where it begins in a nutshell is. Right after Thor Ragnarok, pretty much.
So that scene in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, where we see the ship.
They're on the refugee ship, and then they're like, "Oh, we're going back to Earth." And then there's this massive ship.
Yeah,
that is Thanos' warship. So we pick up right from there.
The
Asgardian ship has been wrecked.
Blown to pieces, pretty much. Almost no survivors.
The Black Order are there, and Thanos is there. The Black Order, there are 4 aliens who are Thanos' minions. And Heimdall is Idris Elba. He's there. He's wounded on the ground. They have Loki cornered. Thor is like knocked out.
And Thanos already has Infinity Stones, which is kind of interesting.
All right. So basically, right at the start of the movie, Thanos already has the gauntlet, and he already has the orb, the Power Stone.
Yeah, he already has it.
So we never. They reference how he gets the Power Stone, but we never see how he got that.
No, we don't.
He already has it at the start. So we probably thought this was where he was going to get the Infinity Stone, the Space Stone, the Tesseract from Loki, right? And so he basically starts the movie. This is how he right off the bat, he has 2 stones.
Mm-hmm.
He fights Hulk, and he beats Hulk to a pulp.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hulk was already on the ship, so
Mm-hmm.
Hulk was not even a match for Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
It was, again, kind of surprising, because you thought that at
Yeah.
least Hulk would give him, like, some, like, chance, but it just showed you how strong even just that one stone Thanos was, right? So it was kind of crazy.
And then right off the bat,
Three
so
deaths.
Heimdall, Idris Elba, he's able to send a knocked out Hulk, Bruce Banner, back to Earth with his powers.
Mm-hmm.
And the Black Order just, or I guess, was it who killed Heimdall? Was it Thanos?
I thought that Thanos did, actually.
I think you're right. So Heimdall, he's gone right off the bat. He gets stabbed to death. So that's pretty devastating for Thor. So that's our first death in the movie is Idris Elba, in like the first 5 minutes.
And then we have where Loki goes, here's the Tesseract. He tries to harm Thanos, and he gets killed next. Just boom, like that. It's like, and Loki, you're dead, which was unbelievable.
So
and then we believe at the time that Thor gets killed too. So there's 3 deaths in like the first 10 minutes.
Well, we knew Thor wasn't going to die there, but he leaves Thor there with all of his dead friends, his dead brethren, and Loki, and they leave. So Thanos leaves with the power and space stones on the gauntlet, and Thor is just in the remains of that ship. So,
but don't we believe he's dead though, because he's in space or something?
All right, let's not fool anyone. Thor didn't die there. Okay,
I'm not saying he died. I'm not saying he died, but at the time, I won't lie, I did think he was dead.
Really?
Yes.
But he's in the rest of the movie.
Hey, I don't know.
Whatever. Okay.
I swear the footage where Loki gave him the Tesseract was different than what we saw. I could have sworn in the footage it was different.
What was different was, well, there was. We'll get to that more later. So it ends with the Asgardian refugee ship blew up.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is the idea that maybe some of the Asgardian refugees survived. Because Thor in the movie, Thor says he killed half my people. So
that's true.
Some of them might. So that means Korg, Valkyrie, and Meek might still be alive. We don't know though.
Maybe we'll see.
It's very possible. So after that, so that's like opening titles, and then we go to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Hulk gets sent to the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Mm-hmm.
So he meets Doctor Strange and Wong, and he's like, Thanos is coming, opening titles, and then we're back on Earth. And we start with Tony Stark, Iron Man, and his girlfriend Pepper. Well, they're engaged now because they got engaged in Homecoming last year, remember?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So we pick up probably a short time at. I mean, who can really keep these timelines straight anymore? It's post Homecoming, post Thor Ragnarok. Tony and Pepper are engaged. They're out on a run. Tony's talking about him and Pepper having a kid, and because they are getting married, and he seems like he wants to have a kid with her, and she's like and she seems to be not too interested because he's still like being hero and all that. And then they get summoned by Doctor Strange and Bruce, who's back on Earth, to the Sanctum Sanctorum to talk about Thanos. Tony's all like, well, the Avengers are toast. We broke up. They need Vision because Vision has the Mind Stone in his forehead, which is part of how they created him. Because Thanos and the Black Order are going after him. And then of course Doctor Strange goes over the other stones in the Time Stone, which is the Eye of Agamotto, his necklace. Now I want to talk about one thing. I don't know if you heard about this at all, Jay, but there was this big theory going around that everyone thought there was a mnemonic device that the location of the Infinity Stones was determined by letters in Thanos' name. Like they would say T for Tesseract, H for Heimdall, A for Aether, which is the reality. This is stupid stuff. So like people were like, Heimdall is the Soul Stone. No, he wasn't. Okay? Did you hear about any of this?
No, I can't say I did, to be honest.
All right. So Doctor Strange meets Iron Man. Honestly, I liked the Doctor Strange and Iron Man relationship in the film. What did you think of it?
Well, it was funny when they first met, they didn't really want to work together, right? Which is
Yeah.
how it was with Cap and Iron Man in the beginning too. So it was kind of nice to see that happen again and have its little twists and turns because clearly, Doctor Strange screws him a little bit because he can.
I like I like that Doctor Strange. He's just like, what did Tony say? He's like, so what exactly is it that you do? And he's like, protecting your reality, douchebag. I just like that someone just like called Tony a douchebag.
Yeah, they had some good banter, that's for sure.
Yeah. There was a lot of good banter in this movie. So
and it's funny because Doctor Strange was most of the time always so serious, and like Tony's one is kind of trying to look like kind of trying to keep things light at times.
Yeah,
kind of cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed the rapport those two had. So then they end up fighting in the streets of New York City because the Black Order shows up, or two of the Black Orders. So Obsidian Call, who's the big one, played by Terry Notary, and the other one was Ebony Maw, who played Ebony Maw.
But before that, didn't they fight the guy who could control things with his mind?
Yeah, that's Ebony Maw.
That's Ebony Maw?
Yeah, that.
Who's the girl with horns then?
The girl with horns is Proxima Midnight. Okay. Tom Von Lawler was the guy who played Ebony Maw. So he fights Iron Man and Doctor Strange and Wong in the streets of New York. Bruce Banner cannot Hulk out because they have this interesting subplot that after Hulk got beat up by Thanos, Hulk is now scared and doesn't want to come out. I thought that was sort of interesting. What did you think of that subplot?
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. It was. I guess I didn't give much thought to it, but I thought it was interesting that, hey, yeah, it's weird that Bruce Banner can't become Hulk, and like Hulk refuses. There's like parts where he goes Hulk now, he goes no. So it's kind of interesting.
Because Hulk has the personality of a child, basically, and after a kid gets like beat up by a monster, like for Hulk, I guess Thanos is like the boogeyman, basically. So Banner can't turn into Hulk, which would normally probably be a good thing for Banner, but not when they have to fight all these giant monsters.
Absolutely.
And then Spider-Man sees a spaceship in New York, and he jumps out of his bus trip to Coney Island to join the battle. So he joins Iron Man in the battle in New York City. So he gets into it. That was a good fight scene overall.
Yeah, I agree. It was pretty cool, and it was intense because it was, a few of them all like trying. I think there was like 1.2 or 3 people trying to go against him, and they're all getting their butts kicked.
I think the reason I like that fight scene, besides that you had all these superpowered individuals, I like seeing like heroes, like multiple heroes, like fighting in a battle at the same time. Because 10, 15 years ago, when you had these movies, even in the X-Men movies, like you wouldn't see like, you would see like the superpowered heroes, they'd be fighting like one-on-one. Or like individually. You'd never see like 4 heroes fighting in the same battle at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
That's kind of how far the now in these movies we can see sort of them really achieve the scope of what the original comics were like and what the cartoons were like, and now you can sort of really bring that out in live action, which you couldn't really do some years back. So that's one thing I liked. The battle ends with the ship with Ebony Maw. They're able to take Doctor Strange prisoner. He has the time stone, and it's he put a special spell on it so it can't like be taken off of him. But Ebony Maw is able to take him prisoner. Iron Man stows away on the ship, and so does Spider-Man. Spider-Man's given his suit that we saw at the end of Homecoming, the Iron Spider suit, basically.
Yeah, which was really cool to see, by the way. It looked awesome.
Yeah, so it's a new version of the Iron Spider suit.
And it was cool, too. And let's talk about it, too. It was really cool where Tony Stark's new suit was just nanites, right? It wasn't even just like a giant, bulky suit anymore, right?
Yeah, it was a new nanobot technology suit.
And that's what Iron Spider's suit was too, which was really cool. So that was a great touch, I thought. It was kind of cool to see the suits keep evolving like that, because in these movies they keep doing that.
Let's see. I think this was the Mark 50. The bleeding. It's similar to the Bleeding Edge suit from the comics, but it's called. This is the Mark 50 suit, so it's based on nanobot technology. So yeah, it was a cool. I did like the new suits for Iron Man and Spider-Man. I don't know if this was my favorite fight scene in the movie, but I did like it a lot.
And it's cool that we still see like Tony Stark trying to kind of be a mentor to Spider-Man because he's like, I'm coming. He's like, no, you're not. Go back there, and like and so it's kind of cool to still see that rapport between
all the banter was good. A lot of the banter and the fights were good. There was one line in the battle I really liked where Peter's like, "Who are these guys? These guys are from space. They are trying to steal a necklace from a wizard." I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that line. All the banter and the one-liners in the movie were really good. It never felt the comedy to me never really felt too forced. I think. Really I think here's in Age of Ultron. I think some of the jokes were a little forced, in my opinion. Did you ever get that feeling?
Yeah, I can agree with that. I could see some of being like not that natural.
Do you remember like that line about language in Age of Ultron?
Yeah, I do.
Like the first time they said it, like okay, but then they kept talking about it. Like when you do that, sometimes you kill the joke. You don't need to kill the joke. You know what I mean? Just say like, oh, Cap's like chastising you because you said a naughty word. Okay, did you just say language? Okay, you don't need to say anything after that. That's like all you need to. Otherwise, you're beating a dead horse. So the way this ends is that Doctor Strange has been kidnapped. Iron Man and Spider-Man are stranded on that spaceship, which is going to meet up with Titan to give him that Infinity Stone.
And Pepper's really mad about it.
Pepper is mad. She's furious. And then Bruce Banner is still on Earth, and he has the flip phone that Captain America gave to Iron Man at the end of Civil War to call, say, here's like my olive branch. If you need me, call me. So he calls Steve Rogers because Steve Rogers is the only one who can find the Vision right now. And they need the Vision because he has the Time Stone. So over in Scotland, the Vision has been meeting up with Scarlet Witch Wanda Maximoff.
And he looks human, which was great. I thought it was great to see him human finally. That was
so
cool.
he's able to take a human form now, and they've been doing the hibbity bibbity. It looks like because Vision is like a very advanced model. He's not like I guess Ultron made him to be properly equipped. Wink, right?
Didn't Tony Stark make him?
Ultron started to make him, and then Tony and the rest finished him, and then
he added in his robot butler for Vision, right?
Not his butler, the Jarvis AI.
That's what I meant. Jarvis. That's what I meant.
Yeah, he added that in it, but then Thor summoned the bolt of lightning that brought him to life. So technically, but he was originally built by Ultron, which is
and he got the stone from Loki, right?
No, he got the stone. No, he got the stone from Ultron. Ultron took it. Technically, Ultron was made from the stone as well.
But time out though. I thought that the stone that's in Vision's head was from Loki's scepter, was it not?
Yeah, right. It was, and that is the mind. That is the Mind Stone.
Okay.
So, so Vision and Scarlet Witch, they've been. What did you think that they had them in a relationship together?
It's kind of been there since. It's been there for a while. Like we kind of started to see it develop a bit
in Age of Ultron.
I would say you saw it more developed in Civil War.
Yeah.
And it looked like they were trying to pretty much get away from the life. That's something they were getting ready to do. And that was kind of nice to see that, natural transition. And you want to go further where it's like, we don't want to do this anymore. But like most of the superheroes in this movie,
he asked her, let's just stay together. Let's not go back, and let's just stay with each other.
Yeah, and like most of the heroes in this movie that we'll get into deeper, they kind of have to get pulled in because things are so dire.
Well, not just that. They get attacked by the other two members of the Black Order. Proxima Midnight, played by Carrie Coon, and Corvus Glaive, who was played by... The Black Order.
Wasn't it the same big one from the first scene?
No, this was a different. He was the lanky guy, the guy with the hood, who looks like a guy. He looks like the Green Goblin, basically.
Oh, okay.
Corvus Glaive, played by Michael James Shaw.
Okay.
He's like the elf, the guy with the pointy ears.
And this scene was kind of cool because we do get to see kind of an unofficial Avengers team still with like Steve Rogers and Black Widow and Falcon. So that was kind of cool to see all them again.
It was a good fight, and they're fighting with Vision and Wanda.
And they're trying to keep Vision safe, right?
Right. Because they want Vision's. He has the Mind Stone, and they want the Mind Stone from him.
Yeah.
And they are able to fight off Glaive and Midnight, and Glaive gets stabbed, and they get so they beam back up to their ship and leave empty-handed. And so they board on the Quinjet, and Falcon's like, "Where are we going, Cap?" And he's like, "Home." Basically referring. So they head back to Avengers HQ. Then War Machine, James Rhodes is there. He's conversing with Secretary Ross, Thunderbolt Ross, think about this. Ross first appeared in The Incredible Hulk back in 2008.
Yeah, you're right.
So he's been.
But we saw more of him though. Didn't we see more of him?
He was in Civil War. He was in Civil War.
Yeah, was he also in? Yeah.
That was the only other movie he was in.
Yeah.
So it was good to see him back. He's like, arrest these guys. When Captain America and everyone else shows up, he's like, arrest these men. And then War Machine's like, yeah, whatever. And he cuts him off. So.
And I like seeing him walk. Yeah. I like seeing him walking in his costume again. Because after Civil War, it looked like that may not have
he was wearing a prosthetic to help him walk.
True, but it was nice to see that. Because at the end of Civil War, you're like, hey, Tony's going to try to help him, but even Tony was like, I'm going to do my best, man, but I make no promises.
Well, he gave him a prosthetic. I mean, he's not healed from his injuries, clearly.
Yeah.
We didn't really get much with Scarlet Witch and Bruce, though, did we? They only had one little kind of like awkward hello.
You mean Black Widow, but yes.
Black Widow. Who did I? I said Scarlet Witch. I'm sorry.
But part of that was because though,
there's too much going on.
Yeah, one, things were so dire, and two, it was the fact that he really couldn't bring out. He was kind of broken too, to be honest. Like Hulk was anyway.
All they did was like, "Hey, Bruce, good to see you," and like, "Hey, Nat," and they didn't. We didn't really get much of. Honestly, though, I never really liked that relationship in the first place. What do you think?
It was kind of cool because she was kind of like his moral center. She kind of like brought him from Hulk to Bruce and all that stuff. So that was kind of cool to see. She calmed him down. Even in Ragnarok, she calmed him down technically. Do you remember that?
When they're on the ship?
When they go on the ship, it's her voice that brings
them. Right. That's right. In the video.
Yeah.
They did the video.
Yeah, so she kind of was a moral center. I kind of liked it.
I don't like the romance, though. It doesn't work for me.
I don't know if I'd ever necessarily call it a romance. I'd just say it was just like,
it is a romance. To me, that the character, it's Betty. Betty is that Betty Ross is that character for the Hulk. So I feel like he's being unfaithful to Betty, honestly. That's kind of but it's a thing they've done it with these films. So what are you gonna do? So they basically Vision believes that Scarlet Witch can use her powers to destroy his Mind Stone. So that way they would at least have an option to keep Thanos from getting it. Captain America and everyone else, they do not want to be the ones to kill Vision. So Bruce is like, we need someone who can remove the stone from his head. Let's take him to Wakanda and let their scientists figure it out. So we get a little bit of Wakanda. Bucky is there.
He gets a new arm, which is awesome.
He gets a new arm from T'Challa, Black Panther. This was like the one time Alan Silvestri, who did the music, he used music from another film, was the Black Panther music. We heard a little bit of the Black Panther music when they go to Wakanda. That was kind of cool. And then
and it's nice to be there again.
Yeah, I think so. At some point in there, we go to space. And we get to see the Guardians of the Galaxy. They've received a distress signal, and they pick up Thor, who's
Mm-hmm.
been stranded in space.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of my favorite scenes in the film. How about you?
I thought it was cool. It was nice to see the Guardians again.
Mm,
And again, there was some good unexpected banter,
mm.
and kind of almost like a love triangle in a way because it's
Not a
like,
not a love triangle.
let me explain what I mean. Because Peter Quill gets very jealous of Thor right away, and he
Yeah,
does it. So like, there's that whole like kind of like puff chest thing, like oh well, you did this, well I did this, like with Gamora. So that was kind of funny to see.
right. But it's not a love triangle. He's
It's
just
not the right wording. It's not the right wording, but
well,
it's kind of funny.
he's jealous of Thor because like Thor's an Asgardian god, and
Yeah.
he's mortal now since he killed his father.
And the jokes about him gaining some weight was kind of funny.
Those were funny.
Yeah.
You like the idea of body shaming Chris Pratt, I guess.
Well, it was just funny, and it was fun and unexpected. It was funny too with the whole eye scene was funny.
That was later, but I think what did Rocket say? Like you're one sandwich away from fat.
Yeah.
And then what did Star-Lord say? He's like, all right, I'm gonna get a Bowflex. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna get some dumbbells. And then I heard Rocket say, you can't eat dumbbells, right? I thought that was I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was
They wake up Thor. Thor fills them in on the whole situation, and of course, this is a very personal mission for Gamora because Gamora is the adopted daughter of Thanos, which we've known since the first Guardians of the Galaxy, but we've never really explored that much with Gamora and Thanos, which they do a lot of in this movie.
Yeah, they did a good job with it too.
That was a major part of the film was Thanos' relationship with Gamora.
Yeah, it was really cool to see her home world, her as a kid when they first met. That was all kind of cool.
Right. We see a flashback to Gamora as a childhood. We see she had a family. Thanos and his army, they cleanse this planet. And they killed off Gamora's family and half of her people. And Thanos he sees little Gamora. He's impressed by her, and he adopts her as his ward, basically. But before we get into that, so Thor is like, I need to go to what was gosh. I'm trying to remember the name of what the place. Nita Valier. Nita Valier. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it, Jay, to remember all these different all these different names and places. So Thor is like, I need to go to Nita Valier. We need to get a new weapon that is capable of killing Thanos from the dwarves. And Rocket takes Groot to go with him. And Thor says the Reality Stone, which is the next one Thanos will be looking for, is on Nowhere. Actually Nowhere, which we see in the cartoon in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It's still in the collector's collection, which the Guardians.
Didn't we see it before that though in Dark World?
Yeah, but they at the end of Dark World they took it to the collector. Remember?
Yeah, and then I know. Now I don't remember seeing Aether in Guardians of the Galaxy, but I do remember where we
saw it in the little video when they bring the orb, but we didn't see where he kept it.
Okay.
So Thor takes Rocket and Groot to Nita Valier, and the rest of the Guardians are going to Nowhere to get the Reality Stone.
I thought this scene was awesome, by the way.
Which one?
The one we're going to next, the Nowhere one.
The Nowhere scene was I love seeing Nowhere again. I only would have liked it more if we saw Howard the Duck and Cosmo. Don't you agree?
True. It was kind of weird not seeing them.
But well, Howard the Duck when we last saw him was not on Nowhere.
Well, especially Cosmo. I mean, Cosmo would have liked to have seen.
I want talking telepathic Cosmo. Don't you?
I would like to have seen that.
Don't you want to see Howard the Duck fighting aliens and stuff?
I would more want to see talking Cosmo because I want to say we saw Cosmo at the end of the first Guardians, but he didn't even talk. It was kind of weird.
Right. He's just we see him in that his little cosmonaut suit. That's it.
Yeah. In the cartoon,
I agree with you, Jay. I think this was the Nowhere scene was probably my favorite scene in the film.
Well, it was such a not only a pivotal moment, but it was a mind-bending scene too, which was
right because in the scene they get to Nowhere, and it looks like Thanos is attacking the Collector to get to the Reality Stone, but the whole thing is just an illusion created by Thanos. He already got the Reality Stone.
And remember too, we see where Gamora, she believes she kills him.
Right. The banter in this scene was funny because the banter in this scene, because like Quill's trying to act like a hotshot leader and no one's listening to him. Drax is like, I'm gonna take revenge for my family against Thanos, because Thanos. We learned that Thanos actually cleansed Drax's planet in this film, which we didn't really know before, even though we knew he wanted revenge against Thanos for some reason.
I thought that it was the Accuser that did it.
Yeah, but he said
by Thanos. Is that what happened?
He said in the movie that Thanos
ordered him to do it.
He didn't say that, but Thanos. I guess Ronan was working with Thanos at the time. So
okay, so Ronan the Accuser did kill his family, but under Thanos' order.
I assume that's what happened.
That probably
I can only assume, like, you know, connecting the dots. That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
That was good, and I like that. Thanos he's like a disappointed father, almost, but he's not mean. He's almost like polite. Thanos is like almost polite through most of this movie. It's a very interesting performance by Josh Brolin. So let's pause for a minute. What did you think of Josh Brolin's performance as Thanos?
I thought he was amazing. I mean, you really grow to hate the character, but he does an amazing job with the character. It's one of those characters where you couldn't imagine anybody else doing the character but him. That's how good it was.
They changed the character a lot from the comics, though.
I'd imagine.
He's very pragmatic, and he has sort of this pragmatic view. Well, let's talk about Thanos' goal.
Okay.
Thanos' goal, his whole reason for doing what he's doing, is because he believes the universe is so limited that I have to wipe out half of the sentient life in the universe to conserve resources and save the universe. So he believes the only way to bring balance to the universe is to commit genocide, not just against planets, but like individual planets, but the entire universe. I'm just going to cut it in half. I'm going to cut all life in half, and then there will be more to go. Basically, more to go around. Basically,
yeah. He even says it's mercy at one time. He
calls it mercy. Yeah. So the idea that life will grow too big and wild and overpopulation, and then you'll like eventually die and starve out. My way is mercy, because like I'll just do it like that.
Yeah, and we find out why he thinks that way later, but we'll get to that later.
So I guess once we learn his motivation, like what did you think of his motivation and how he was going about it?
I thought it was interesting. It was still. I think he was still a nut job. I didn't once go, poor Thanos. I was like, God, this guy's going to such an extreme to do it. It was hard for me to like him at all. Truly, by the end of the movie, I hated his guts. I was just like, God, this guy's just a complete utter jerk, and I can't wait.
The visual effects for Thanos looked really good, though, right?
They did. I agree. They looked great, but just the character itself, by the end, I'm just like, God, I want this guy to die now. He needs.
I don't know if you'd be interested to know, but of the scenes that were cut from the film, apparently they cut more scenes of his backstory and his like childhood on Titan, which is his planet.
That for? That's weird.
I think they, you know, this was a long movie. It's a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, so but it didn't feel long.
No, I mean, I would say the pacing was really good. Wouldn't you agree?
It was. It was amazing. I was like, it didn't drag on at all. It flowed perfectly the whole way throughout.
Good flow. It was like, even though like at Batman versus Superman was not this well paced. Wouldn't you agree? Not at all.
No,
and that was same length as this film. Does that surprise you?
No, because Marvel knows what they're doing. DC is still getting the hang of it.
I think, and I was happy though we got so much more time with Thanos in this film.
Yeah, we did.
And I like that they explored the Thanos and Gamora relationship, because even though they had that connection going back the last two films, we never really learned much about what life was like for her. Thanos.
At least not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We learned about it in the cartoon, but not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, but the cartoon only really goes off of the first movie and not the other ones. So it was good. I really enjoyed all of those scenes. And earlier, Gamora made Star-Lord promise her, if Thanos captures me, you have to kill me because I have a secret that puts the whole universe at stake. So you have to kill me to keep Thanos from learning it.
She didn't say what the secret was, right?
No, she didn't say what it was. Yes. She said, "Swear on your mother to kill me." And we also learned that Gamora and Peter had started a romantic. So there's no ambiguity. They were a couple. When we meet them, as I'm glad they finally took that step with those two characters. What about you?
Yeah, I think it was nice to finally see it happen because they've been dancing around it for too long. Just freaking do it already.
I didn't like it in the second Guardians of the Galaxy that they kind of like held off on it, you know? And I was listening to the audio commentary, and James Gunn kind of sounded like they weren't going in that direction. I'm like, well, I mean, then what was the point? And now it appears they have. So I'm glad they finally. I'm glad they finally went there with those two characters because I actually like those two characters together. So I'm glad. But so Thanos has Gamora captured, and
he's torturing Nebula, right?
Well, not yet. We're not there yet. And he's like, and Gamora tells Peter, "Not me." And Peter has his gun pointed at her, and this was a cool moment where he actually shoots his gun to kill Gamora to keep his promise to her. But what comes out of the gun?
Bubbles.
Because that's the power. That's because look, with the Reality Stone, you can alter realities. So that was amusing. So we still don't know what happened to the Collector. Do you think he's probably dead?
I would imagine.
We don't.
Because we actually saw how that place looked pretty damn wrecked.
It looked wrecked. So,
alive.
Do you think Cosmo is dead?
I hope not.
You know.
I would think Cosmo would maybe either beam away somewhere or hide somewhere, but the Collector might be kind of screwed.
I hope Cosmo is okay. And you know what? I hope Howard the Duck is okay.
Well, he's on the last we saw he wasn't there, so I think he's fine.
Right. So he was on another planet. So I hope wherever Howard the Duck is, I hope he's okay. Don't you, Jay?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
I would hope so. So, I kind of like that Thanos meets Quill, and he's like, "I like you," and then he just transports away, and we see. So then we go to Thanos's main ship, which is the one that destroyed the Asgardian refugee ship. He's torturing Nebula because he knows Gamora is lying to him about the Soul Stone. Gamora found the Soul Stone, and it is on Provimir, I want to say.
I don't know. Could be.
I think the planet, like but here's my thing: all the theories about where the Soul Stone was were wrong. Did you have a theory about where the Soul Stone was?
No, I actually didn't, because I just didn't know. I'm like, I don't know where the heck it could be. It could be anywhere in the galaxy for all
I'll tell you, because all the theories, I feel like I was genuinely surprised about where the Soul Stone was. So it's just on a random planet called Provimir, and this was the biggest surprise. I think the biggest surprise that no one saw coming, and I want to give props to the whole Marvel team and Anthony and Joe Russo. No one saw this coming. We saw the return of a famous Marvel villain. When Gamora
and Thanos, didn't surprise me. That didn't surprise me.
It totally surprised me.
Because here's the thing. I had a hunch he was still alive.
Let me finish. This went at my screening. This got one of the biggest reactions when we saw none other than
Red Skull.
The Red Skull back in the Marvel universe. He was on. When we last saw the Red Skull, it was in Captain America: The First Avenger, and he had the Tesseract, and it dumped him in like another part of space, and it dumped him on the planet where the Soul Stone is. So we see the Red Skull again, and he leads Gamora and Thanos to where you have to get the Soul Stone. But why were you not surprised, Jay?
I had a hunch that he was still alive. I just didn't know where he had gone. But like,
I believed he was alive as well, but I didn't think we would see him this way.
I didn't think he'd be there, but it was nice to see him. I was like, oh, it's nice to see he's still around because I had so it was nice to see him. Although I don't know if it was Viggo Mortensen.
Hugo Weaving was the original. It wasn't
That's
Hugo
what I meant,
Weaving.
but it wasn't him.
You're gonna like this. Guess who played the Red Skull in this film?
Was it John Hurt?
No.
Who was it?
Ross Marquand.
Okay.
Who is Aaron from The Walking Dead.
Oh.
So that the new Red Skull was Aaron from The Walking Dead. I don't even, you know what? We might not even see Red Skull again after this, because
we'll see.
Because I mean, like, why? I mean, why would you, honestly? But this, so this was. Did you like seeing the character again here, at least?
Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was nice to see him again.
I mean, I wonder if the makeup was all CG or if he wore prosthetics, but it looked good.
Yeah, it looked prosthetic to me. So
basically, the Red Skull informs Thanos and Gamora that the soul, to retrieve the Soul Stone, it requires a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to sacrifice the thing you love most. Mm-hmm. And for what is that for Thanos?
Well, it's, first of all, before we say that, it's funny because Gamora laughed. She goes, "You don't love anybody. You're not going to get it. Ha 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 ha." So she's like ecstatic.
Bad move, Gamora.
You're not going to get the stone because you don't love anybody but yourself.
Bad move, because.
But it was a great scene and as the scene progresses, it's probably one of the only moments where I kind of felt bad for him. That's probably one of the only moments in the entire movie.
You do. I mean, even though he kills Gamora, you kind of feel.
He doesn't want to do it.
Maybe I don't really sympathize with Thanos, but you kind of understand him, right?
Yeah, you understand. You're like, damn, that sucks, dude. Because he's like, I don't want to do it, but I have to. I don't have a choice. Yeah.
In his twisted mind, he believes he has to do these.
Yeah. He's like, if I don't do it, my mission is for nothing.
But here's the big difference between the comics is that he doesn't really hate doing those things in the comics. He enjoys it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. He's more cruel. He's a more cruel and sadistic person. Here, he's more like, I don't want to be cruel, but I have to be for the fate of the universe, basically. Mm-hmm. There you go. Mm-hmm. So that is, we saw the untimely end of the Guardian of the Galaxy, Gamora,
which sucked. I thought I hated when that happened. Like, God damn it,
that was rough.
Yeah, that was rough. That was hella rough. That was probably that was at this moment in the movie one of the roughest deaths they had.
That was a rough death because first she tries to kill herself, right, with the dagger. She tries to kill herself with the dagger he gave her as a child. Mm-hmm. That didn't work because he turns it into bubbles again. Mm-hmm. And then he drags her kicking and screaming to that cliff and tosses her into that chasm. Mm-hmm. And it was rough, man, to kind of see her just get dragged and thrown off a cliff like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And but so now Thanos, he has power, space, reality, and sacrificing Gamora gives him the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
Now he has 4. And so the 5th is the Time Stone. That is with Doctor Strange. And the Mind Stone is with Vision still on Earth.
Wakanda, yeah.
Wakanda. So, like, the Avengers go to Wakanda to meet with Black Panther and Bucky. And so Shuri, Black Panther's sister, is going to try and remove the Soul Stone while the rest of the heroes hold off Thanos' forces. And the rest, so the Groot and Rocket, they go to Nita Valir to get a weapon for Thor that can hopefully kill Thanos. And this was an interesting appearance.
This is one of my most favorite scenes of the movie, actually, for a number of different reasons.
All right, so they go to Nita Valir. Now basically, here's what Nita Valir is. This is the home of the MCU dwarves, and the dwarves are the people who build the weapons basically for the Asgardians. So they built the hammer, Mjolnir, and all of those things. And we meet the king of the dwarves, who is named Aetri.
I'm not sure if he was the king, was he?
He is the king of the dwarves. He's their leader, who is played by
Peter Dinklage, which is awesome.
So how did you like seeing Peter Dinklage as a giant dwarf?
Yeah, seeing Peter Dinklage I thought was absolutely awesome because he's been it isn't his first time being in a Marvel movie, but he's good in all of them.
Right. He was Boulevard Trask in Days of Future and
Yeah,
X-Men
yeah,
Days of. But this is his first MCU role
yeah, yeah.
because
I get that,
technically,
but it was really cool to see him. It was a
yeah.
great shock. It was a good, and they actually did a good job keeping that under wraps too, because I didn't know that
I
until I saw it.
well, we knew he was in the movie. We didn't know what character he was going to play.
I must have missed it because I didn't know it at all. I had
I
no
knew he
clue.
was in the. People were saying he was going to play like Pip the Troll, and
Yeah.
not. But I was surprised we see him in this character. I like this character a lot, and I like that the dwarf. He towers over everyone else. Didn't you like? What did you think of that visual?
It was really cool. It was really awesome. It was great for Dinklage to pay something like that, and it's an amazing scene in the movie. Really, it is. I think it's one of my more favorite scenes in the movie.
I like the scene a lot. They go to the forge of Nidavellir, and it's been shut down.
Yeah, Thanos was there and shut it down.
Thanos was already there, and what else do we learn about
we learned that they're the one who created the gauntlet for him.
They made the gauntlet.
And he said they made it because they thought if we do it, he won't kill everybody, and he killed everybody anyway except for him.
Right. So Adri is able to still make one more weapon for Thor, and it would be the most powerful, like, Asgardian weapon ever. And he calls it Stormbreaker. And now here's an interesting reference. In the comics, Stormbreaker is the weapon of Beta Ray Bill and not Thor.
Okay.
Do you remember the animated series Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
No.
Okay.
I didn't watch
it. Avengers are the one before Avengers Assemble, Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
I didn't watch it, no.
Okay, so we see Beta Ray Bill was in that.
And
he had Stormbreaker in that. So Rocket and Thor, they have to figure out a way to restart this giant weapon factory with the heart of a star, so Atri can make this weapon for him. There was a really good line exchange. Like Thor has to open up this star. So to harness the energy of a dying star, so they're able to make the weapon and restart the forge. And then what did I really like this line exchange. Aitri said, "It'll kill you, boy," and then Thor's like, "Not if I die." And then Aitri's like, "Yes, that's what killing you means."
But there was a good line before that, though. I thought when they were flying over there, and Groot says something, and Thor understands because you speak Groot. He's like, "Yeah, it was like like an elective class at like Asgard." It was funny.
It was an he said it was an elective.
Yeah, so I thought that was a really funny.
Right, and Rocket gives him before as they're getting into Nidavellir, he gives him a robotic eye. So that's how Thor gets his other eye back.
Yeah, and he says it's funny because you might want to watch that first.
Yeah. He said he hit it up his butt, basically. He didn't say that, but he was about to before he gets cut off.
Yes, that was
that was funny. So they Thor is just barely able to finish this weapon, and Groot finally puts his damn video game down, and he uses his arm to make a hilt for Stormbreaker,
which was really cool.
And that's how and Thor is able to restore his powers, basically. Now this new weapon, Stormbreaker, is able to summon the Bifrost Bridge, so it can go wherever he needs to. So
he said it was a weapon fit for a king too, which is kind of cool.
Right. Well, Thor is technically the king of Asgard now.
Oh yeah, he is.
So after that, meanwhile, back on Earth, the Avengers are fighting
these weird creatures, these like weird monster dogs.
Yeah, so these are Thanos's, like, I don't know, I forget what you call these creatures. But the Black Order, Proxima Midnight is there, Obsidian Cull is there. And they're trying to defend Wakanda from these monsters in the Black Order to keep them from getting to Vision.
Well, first they have the force field up, and then they realize if they go behind them, they can't.
So they open the force field. They open the force field so they can't surround the dome, basically.
Yeah.
They have a ton of these, like, monsters. Just
there's an insane amount of them.
So big fight breaking out. Cap has he doesn't have the classic shield. He has the Wakandan shields.
Yeah, he has two shields, one on each arm, right? Doesn't he?
Right. Black Panther is there.
Mhm.
War Machine is there. Falcon is there, and Black Widow is there, and
Bruce Banner in
Bruce
the
Banner.
Hulkbuster armor.
Yeah. Now, here's what's interesting: in the trailers, they show Hulk in that battle, but it's not Hulk; it's the Hulkbuster.
Yeah, that is kind of
So
interesting.
they tried to they kind of fooled us all really with all the trailers. They put
Yeah.
fake shots in the trailers to fool us.
Or maybe it was
Basically,
a deleted scene or something. Who knows?
no, because it's they took out the Hulkbuster model and put in the Hulk
Okay.
CG model instead. So it's not Hulk, because Hulk still won't come out, and he tries to get Hulk to come out, and
Mm-hmm.
Hulk just says no. He's like, "Come on, Hulk, come on." He's like, "No."
Mm-hmm.
So a big fight,
Mm-hmm.
huge ass fight here. We have the Black Order. We have those like monster dog creatures. We
Mm-hmm.
have vehicles. We have Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
Um, lots of and so Shuri is trying to remove the Mind Stone from Vision. It's a very meticulous process, and if she's off by just like one circuit, she could wipe him out.
Yeah, I could kill him. Yeah.
So they basically don't have enough time.
Mm-hmm.
And the other heroes so the other heroes, Iron Man and Spider-Man, on the ship with Ebony Maw, they have a little fun there. We get do you remember that old movie Aliens? So they
Mm-hmm.
blast a hole open in the ship,
Mm-hmm.
and they suck out Ebony Maw and save Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
And Iron Man's like, "Kid, you're an Avenger now." Spider-Man becomes an Avenger,
Mm-hmm.
and so Tony's like, "You know what? We have the Mind Stone. We have this ship. Let's take it to where Thanos is going on Titan, and make him come to us instead of bringing him back to Earth."
Mm-hmm.
So that I thought was interesting. So
They
they
head
take
over to Titan, his homeworld. Yeah.
right. They take that ship to Titan, and Nebula was able to escape her captivity on Thanos' ship, and sends a message to Mantis and the Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
So Mantis and the Guardians also know that Thanos is going to Titan, which is where he told the Black Order to meet him at the beginning of the movie. For those, so it's a little complex here, but just bear with us. So now we have Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange with the Mind Stone
Mm-hmm.
crash and land on Titan to fight Thanos, and then they are met by the Guardians, or the rest of the Guardians who are there, meaning Star-Lord, Drax, and Mantis. So that was they had a fun little meet cute, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. They
How did
sure
you like
did.
those heroes meeting up with each other?
It was cool to see, and again, it was Peter Quill trying to be leader, but not working because people were like, no, we're not doing that. We're doing this instead.
I think not just Doctor Strange, but I really enjoyed Tony Stark and Peter Quill kind of ripping on each other. What did Peter say at one point? Like, "I'm not from Earth, I'm from Missouri," and then Tony's like, "Yeah, that's on Earth, dip blank." And
Mm-hmm.
then Drax is like, "Tell them about the dance off that beat Ronan." And like, "No, don't talk about," because Peter's embarrassed by it. And then Peter Parker, Spider-Man's, "Wait, like in Footloose?" And then what did then Star-Lord's like, "Is Footloose still the greatest movie of all time?" And then Peter says, "It never was." That I thought
Yeah,
was fun. That
that
I
was
thought
pretty
was
good. That was pretty good.
I enjoyed all that. So
Yeah, that was
then
pretty funny.
they come up with a plan. Let's pin him down. Let's pin Thanos down when he comes here, and
Mm-hmm.
let's remove and let's get the gauntlet off of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Doctor Strange is using the Time Stone to move forward in time to look at all the possible realities of how the fight could go. And he
Mm-hmm.
says, "I looked at like 14.6 million, and we only won one." Apparently, we don't really learn the details, but he said, "In only one of these alternate futures, we beat him once."
Mm-hmm.
Some kind. So we have heroes on Earth and heroes on Titan, all getting ready to fight.
Mm-hmm.
So After Thor gets his weapon, he uses the Bifrost powers. He goes to Wakanda to help out his friends, and he turns the tide in that fight. Wanda joins the fight to help Black Widow and Okoye against Proxima Midnight, because they're kind of struggling against her. So together they kill Proxima. They just crush Proxima Midnight into space. And what's also funny is Rocket and Groot also joined the battle on Earth, and that we got some fun interactions there. Rocket seemed to make friends with Bucky pretty quickly. What did Rocket want from Bucky?
His arm again.
He wanted Bucky's arm. He's like, how much for the gun? He's like, not for sale. He's how much for the arm? And then did you hear what Rocket said? He's like, I'm getting that arm.
Yeah, I did.
Like, that was good. And then what about Groot and Captain America?
I can't remember that one. Remind me.
Okay. So Thor is like, this is my friend Rabbit and Tree.
Oh yeah.
And then Groot says, I am Groot. And then Cap's like, I am Steve Rogers.
Oh yeah.
That got a big laugh at my
Well, it was funny too, because he kept calling him Rabbit and he kept getting annoyed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're Rocket, you can't really correct Thor. So this fight scene was pretty good. The Wakanda one.
Yeah.
And you had the Hulkbuster fighting the big guy, Obsidian Kull, and he tries to get Hulk to come out, and Hulk still refuses. So then Bruce Banner uses the Hulkbuster to just fight Obsidian Kull on his own. He gets rid of Obsidian. Corvus Glaive goes into the lab. He attacks Vision. And he tries to get the Mind Stone from Vision. So the plan to get the stone out of Vision failed. And Cap he fights with Corvus Glaive to save Vision, and then Vision uses that guy. He uses the Corvus Glaive's own spear to kill that guy. So all the Black Order are dead. All four of the Black Order are dead at this point. And Vision has apparently been saved, but on Titan. So all the heroes, Thanos arrives there to get the Time Stone. They all fight, and they are able to temporarily not take him down. They incapacitate him for a little bit. Mantis uses her powers to kind of put him to sleep for a little bit. And then so they grab the gauntlet, and they're trying to remove the gauntlet after they have him pinned down. And then Nebula arrives during this fight and attacks Thanos. So she's there to help out the other heroes. And then freaking Peter Quill, man. Peter Quill, it was his plan, and he screwed it all up, man. What did you think of that?
But it makes sense though, because he's pushing a nerve on purpose. Thanos is pushing a nerve with Quill on purpose.
Well, he was under like Mantis's mind control, and she's like, he's in anguish, he's in mourning, and then because Peter wants to know what happened to Gamora, and then Nebula's like, oh well, they went to get the Soul Stone, and Gamora didn't come back. He killed her. So first of all, shut up, Nebula. You don't need to say that right now and make Peter go crazy. And then Peter messes the whole thing up. They were about to get the gauntlet, and then Peter goes crazy because he knows that Thanos killed Gamora. Thanos is like, I had to. And then Thanos, just as they were about to get the gauntlet, Thanos gets free. He uses the stone powers to just beat everyone up. Uses the gauntlet, summons a moon from out of orbit, and just drops it on Iron Man. All the heroes are left scrambling. Doctor Strange tries to use his mystic powers to fight Thanos. He holds him off for a little bit, but no good. Then Iron Man tries to fight Thanos hand to hand. Thanos, he rips off Iron Man's, like he makes like a sword with his armor, rips it off, stabs Tony in the torso. I thought that was it for Iron Man at that point. What did you think?
It looked that way for a second. It sure did. You're like, oh man, because I didn't want him to die because he's been such an important part of the MCU. But I'm like, yeah, it looked like it could be the end.
Everyone at that point, everyone was gasping in the theater, and like I think everyone thought Iron Man was going to die at that point. I thought he was.
It seemed likely it did. It was a bummer if it happened, but you're like, it could happen though.
But what ends up happening is Doctor Strange, he offers to give Thanos the time stone.
First Thanos pulls off his necklace and goes, it's a fake.
Right.
So it's not even the necklace with the time stone in it.
That was before, but that was before this. So that was when he was fighting Doctor Strange. And then Doctor Strange is like, I'll actually give it to you if you just let Tony live. And you know what? Look, Thanos he's not sadistic because he accepts the offer. You know what I mean? He doesn't. At that point, he could have just turned all of those, all the other heroes into paste with just like that. But he doesn't. He lets he's like, okay, give it to me, and I'll let you all go, and he does. So as twisted as he is, he doesn't kill anyone, who doesn't provoke him. You know what I mean? Isn't that kind of interesting, Jay?
It was kind of interesting, yeah. But then again, at the same time, it kind of causes a rift between Tony and Doctor Strange. He says it's the only way, but he's like, damn it, Doc, what did you just do? You know?
Well, I mean, pretty much there was probably after Peter Quill messed up the whole plan, there was probably no way they were going to get off of there alive without I
wondered then if that was the one way he was talking about that they would.
I think it was. I think it was based on what happens after that, and then because after that after he gives Thanos the time stone, so now he's up to 5 now, and Doctor Strange says we're in the end game now. So back on Earth, excuse me. So Thanos goes back on Earth because he has all 5, and he needs the last stone, and all the Black Order are dead. So Vision is still alive at this point. All the Avengers try to attack Thanos. He goes through all of them
like tissue paper.
Like Cap. He's able to hold him off for a little bit, and then he just I thought the Cap thing was interesting because when Cap looks at him and he's holding, remember that scene in the trailer where he's grabbing the gauntlet and holding it. It almost looks like Thanos is somewhat impressed. When we saw, he almost looks like, hey, not bad. Hey, you're able to kind of hold my gauntlet up. Hey, not bad for you, human. And then he knockout punch. Vision tells Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, that they're out of time, and he needs her to use her powers to destroy the Mind Stone, and she does. She's able to do it, but he has the other 5, and he can control. He can control time around his finger. He uses a time stone. He rewinds time. He puts Vision back together after Vision exploded at Wanda's hands, and he rips the stone out. And now he has all 6. He has power, purple. He has space, blue. He has reality, red. He has soul. What color is soul stone? Orange. He has
time, which is green.
And he has the Mind Stone, which is yellow.
Yeah.
So now he has all 6. So so he has all 6. And then Thor comes roaring in. He has the Stormbreaker. He impales Thanos on the Stormbreaker.
Right in the chest.
And he shoves it in a little bit more. And he said, and he harkens back to the beginning of the movie. I told you would die for this. And then Thanos, with his last words, says, almost not quite his last words. He says, "You should have aimed for the head." Snap. He did it.
And then he gets away. Then he gets away in a portal.
Not quite yet. We see him enter this kind of trippy, like hallucination where he sees
Oh yeah,
sees
you're
little
right,
Kid Gamora again, and Kid Gamora is like, "Did you do it?" He's like, "Yes." What did it cost? And he says everything. And then we go back to Wakanda. The gauntlet looks like it's been damaged. It looks severe. So whatever Thanos did, it looks like it greatly damaged the gauntlet. But he's healed, or not quite healed, but he leaves in a portal. Stormbreaker, he leaves Stormbreaker there. Like Stormbreaker gets pulled out when he goes through the portal. And so then, oh man, this was
the gut-wrenching stuff begins.
Why don't you go over what happens with the gut-wrenching stuff?
Oh God, what happens is since he did it, half of the universe, and it's just left and right. A lot of superheroes you didn't think would go. I mean, T'Challa goes, Bucky goes. I want to say Wanda went. Am I wrong?
Yep. Wanda
she goes. Almost all the Guardians go. I mean, the only one who survives is Rocket
and Nebula.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then Doctor Strange goes. God, who else goes? There's so many people that just like die. You're like, holy crap! Like,
a lot of the Wakandans. A lot of the Wakandans.
Yeah.
Oh, and this was the big one, Spider-Man.
That one, yeah, that one.
Wow.
Sadly, you can see online. I've seen it a few times, but it was such a gut wrenching, heart-stirring, pulling scene because just how they did it was really, really well.
Oh man, it was that was devastating, you know, because it's not like he wiped them from existence and you didn't know they were there. Like you knew these characters were there, and they were just and they went to Falcon too.
Yeah, and I hated seeing Groot die because Groot was still a teenager. We didn't get to see adult Groot again, so that really sucked. Having Groot die.
But that was like because Tony was holding Spider-Man in his arms when he turned into dust, and Spider-Man, Peter, who's just like a teenage kid, he's like, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. It's like that was really heartbreaking.
Really, for me, just the last scene in general was just like punch after punch after punch after punch after punch. There was so many people and like I said, there were a lot of people. I'm like, I didn't think they'd take him out so soon, and they did. Like, and you know what? T'Challa blew me away. I was like, we just got Black Panther. Why are you killing Black Panther? We just got him.
Now, I mean, I hate to do this comparison, but I feel like I have to. When they did Batman versus Superman, and remember when Superman died in that movie, I didn't feel anything at all.
Well, it's because you knew he was going to come back.
Well, I mean, some of these guys, you can probably figure they will come back.
Well, here's the thing, though. At the moment, because we're going to do a comparison, at the moment of Batman vs. Superman, I knew that Superman was going to come back. Afterwards, I'm like, I didn't know, and I still don't know who will and won't come back, right? So when I saw this movie in theaters, it was so much more gut-wrenching. Like, holy crap, people were all gone. And at the time, I'm like, I don't know if they're going to come back. It may be the end for all of them.
I would assume anyone who turns to dust will probably come back, is what I would assume.
But at the time, I didn't know that, is what I'm saying. Where at the time, at the time with Batman vs. Superman, I knew that Superman was going to come back. For this, I'm like, I didn't know who was going to come back.
Bring back Gamora,
it was that it forever, right? That's what I thought.
Because Gamora didn't die on the snap, you know.
True.
Thanos murdered her. Loki got murdered by Thanos. Heimdall got murdered by Thanos. So unless you turn back time to before he got any of the stones, pretty much, like, I would think the only people who can come back are the ones who got turned into dust, basically.
But it was still like when I saw this scene, it was just punch after punch after punch, because I was like, man, I was like, at the time, and I still kind of am like that, where you're like, man, they're all gone, and who knows if they're coming back. It
was like getting punched in the balls repeatedly, wasn't it?
It was just me. It was like in like the gut. It wasn't the gut.
It was gut punch after gut punch. But how did you feel when you just saw like Tony just holding Spider-Man, like, because he mentored Spider-Man. When you see this little kid Spider-Man, just like,
for me, it wasn't. For me, it really wasn't the Spider-Man scene. It was just everybody that just goes, and it was just. It was relentless. It was just like, you're like, God, it's like, you're just like, man, just make it stop. This is just too much.
You know, Jay, I worry about kids who go to see this movie and getting traumatized, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I hope kids who see this movie are not horrendously traumatized for life.
Yeah, because Because it really is. It's like after you leave, you're just like you're numb. You're like, wow, that was a lot of death. And here's the thing too, it gets even worse. You wait, like you go to like you see the one cutscene. There's only one, by the way. There's not 2, 3, or 4, or 5. And then you see.
I don't want to get to that one just yet. But I do want to talk about the reaction. We see Tony. He's all alone with Nebula, a woman he doesn't even know on Titan, and he looks defeated. He looks as devastated as the kids probably leaving the theater. And then we see Cap. He's just sitting on the ground. He's lost his best friend. They've lost. They've lost. The Avengers have lost, man. And when you see Cap just defeated like that, and he's just like, oh God. I mean, man, that was rough, wasn't it?
Well, that was how the whole entire audience felt. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And then, very interesting moment. The movie leaves us with Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos goes. He has this little farm on wherever he goes to. He's okay. He was able to heal his wounds, and he did what he said earlier in the movie. He says, "Look at the sun setting on a grateful universe," and that's exactly what he does at the end.
Well, he said too that after he did it, he would rest. So that's what he does.
Right. He did everything he said he was going to do, Jay. The villain won. The villain won in Avengers 3. Thanos. So the movie ends on that moment. What did you think? What do you think of the movie just ending on that moment of Thanos just going to rest and is like, "Yeah, I did it.
Wait a minute. Isn't this? I know that they're saying that the next one is 4, but we had Avengers, we had Age of Ultron, then we had Civil War. No, it's Captain America. You're right. So this is 3.
Infinity. This is Avengers 3.
Yeah, you're right. Because Captain America: Civil War was basically an Avengers movie, but it was Captain America.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So what did you think of just ending it with Thanos like that? Like that's the way we leave the movie.
Again, I was expecting it to end on a cliffhanger, but it was a pretty soul-crushing cliffhanger.
Yeah. And then here's the other thing. Like in the early part of the credits, like people are waiting for people are desperately waiting for something.
Yeah, some kind of beacon of hope.
Yeah, they're looking for, as you said, they're looking for a beacon of hope. And then when the title comes up, Avengers Infinity War, it crumbles into dust. That was like.
And let me tell this next part. So then, because I'm also waiting, like, hey, it's the Marvel movie. They're gonna have, like end credit scenes, right? They're gonna have one, so maybe that'll be a beacon of hope, right?
Right. So the Russo brothers even debated if they would even have one or not. They thought about not having one.
And
but
so
here's
what happens is we go.
Before that, no. Before that, remember when you see the titles like fading away in the dust in the credits? Remember that part? That was like a twist of the knife. That was like getting stabbed in the back, and that was another twist of the knife. But now go ahead.
And so then what happens is we see Nick Fury, we see Colby Smulders' character.
Maria Hill.
Yeah, we see them, and we see where a car crashes in front of me because the people are just gone. And then this this was a stab in the back for me.
Okay.
You're like, wait, Nick Fury and her have to go too? What the hell?
Right.
And he says, he says, mother F, then just poof. And he's away. Like, that's exactly how you feel. You're like, no, not Nick Fury too, you bastards.
Right. But we do get our beacon of hope.
Kind of.
Yes.
Captain Marvel.
It's a literal beacon though. He has like a pager, and he sent you can see that the pager summons I guess Captain Marvel.
But here's the thing though. I know that now, but at the time I didn't know what that symbol meant because I don't know a lot about Captain Marvel. So I was like, okay, that's nice, but still, like they'd had to die.
Jay,
what the hell?
What I want you to do, you need to go on Comixology. You need to start reading more comics. That's what you need to start doing. You need to brush up on your comics and everything. So how were you happy that we at least got that scene at the end, or what?
For me, because I didn't understand the logo, no. I was just like, it was like another stab, another punch in the gut for me. It's like, and one more for good measure. Bam! It's like, no!
Like, here's my thing. Did you need to kill off both characters in that end scene?
My thought is, hell no. No, you did not.
I would have liked to have seen Coulson. I would have liked to have seen Coulson or something,
Well...
Coulson's in Captain Marvel. We're going to see him there.
Yeah.
So we're good.
But there's a reason we probably didn't see him, and it's probably because of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm not going to go into detail.
So that was Avengers Infinity War. This will be our last Marvel movie until Ant-Man.
Deadpool 2.
Deadpool's not MCU.
It is Marvel, though.
I'm MCU. I'm strictly MCU. The next one is Ant-Man. After that is Captain Marvel. And then next May will be Avengers 4. We still don't know the title yet.
So Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then when is Captain Marvel? When is that?
Captain Marvel is March,
next
2019.
year?
Yeah. Okay. So it'll be Ant-Man
and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Avengers 4. Okay. That's
now. Are you sure? Even though it's not technically MCU, do you think we might see something that has to do with it in Deadpool 2? Maybe.
No, because no, there's no way.
Maybe we will in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think they're talking about we'll see something.
Maybe they might reference it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but we'll see. The thing is, the TV shows will reference the movies, but the movies won't reference the TV shows, basically.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
All right, so now let's go over the box office, since we've gone over the movie. Mm-hmm. Avengers Infinity War had the single largest opening weekend of all time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have to give you props for this, Jay, because I think you predicted how big this movie was going to be. Mm-hmm. I was skeptical if it could even beat Black Panther, but 257 million. So
that was 131 in the first day, didn't it?
Let me see.
It made a lot on its first day.
Let me look at the daily chart. 106 for opening day.
Yeah, and that's
that includes Thursday, the shows on Thursday as well.
You know, one reason it made so much, honestly, is because besides LA and a few places, they didn't do a lot of screenings. So if you wanted to see it, you had to pay to see it, and people are going to go pay to see it. So I hate to say it, it was kind of a good move by the Russos.
Also, do you know MoviePass? Have you heard of MoviePass?
I have, yes.
They started restricting ticket viewing, so you couldn't use MoviePass to see Infinity War more than once.
Yeah, so but still, it was a way that's how they made so much money the first day. Because if you wanted to see it, you had to pay. You had no choice.
Right. And I mean, I even saw it again last night on IMAX because I wanted to see it on IMAX because it was shot with IMAX cameras. Mm-hmm. So, and I live right next to an actual full-size IMAX theater with the 4K dual laser projection system. So that's the only way you can get the most authentic experience possible for this movie. And it looked pretty impressive in IMAX, I have to say. So just to break down the numbers, 257 million right now, 640 million worldwide, and that's just not even a week. Mm-hmm. So here's let's look at Black Panther because that was pretty huge last February. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Black Panther had an opening weekend of 202 million. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. I don't think a Marvel movie had ever been that big since Avengers in 2012 because Age of Ultron only opened up with 191 million. Mm-hmm. That's less than Black Panther. Now let's see. Weekend. I want to look at weekend all time. Mm-hmm. See the record holder. No, that's all right. So Force Awakens. So I guess the question was, could this movie beat The Force Awakens at opening weekend? It did. Force Awakens made 247 million. Mm-hmm. So Avengers beat it by 10 million. Pretty impressive, right? Mm-hmm. How far?
We have to look at too. This movie's not going to really have. I don't know if it's going to have any competition all summer.
It will. Yeah, it will.
Like what?
Well, Deadpool comes out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but that's not going to be That's not going to be a family film. That's going to be like
a lot of people are going to see Deadpool.
I'm not saying they're not going to, but I don't think it's going to do as well as this. Is what I'm saying.
Incredibles 2. That's Disney.
That might give it competition. But that's not till June, right?
Right. It's got competition in May. Well, let's see.
I don't think Solo's going to knock it off. I don't think so.
Well, Solo does. So by the time Solo comes out, it will have made most of its money.
So I don't think Solo's going to.
You don't think Solo's going to do well?
Solo could be competition, but it won't beat it. Deadpool could be competition, but it won't beat it. The only one that could maybe beat
Jurassic World. Jurassic World. There you go.
I think the one that's going to beat it might be Incredibles 2. That might be the only one.
Solo's going to make money, though.
I'm not saying it's not going to, but I don't think it's going to
All
be
right. Well,
it's going to
look,
knock.
Jay, Deadpool is going to make a ton, and that's coming out in a couple weeks. But by the time Deadpool comes out, Avengers will have made over half of its money anyway. So it'll be by the time Solo even comes out, Avengers will like be done. But will any movie surpass Avengers this summer? I don't think so. No, not at all.
Yeah, I just mean its next big competition is going to be Incredibles 2. That'll be the next big one.
But okay. So do you think there will be a bigger movie this year?
Jeez. What else is coming out this year?
Ant-Man and the Wasp? I don't think, no. I wouldn't.
Maybe around the holidays, maybe.
Well, let's see what's coming out later in the Aquaman. What do you think about Aquaman?
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be as big as this, but
Creed 2, Wreck-It Ralph 2, the animated Spider-Verse.
I think that Wreck-It Ralph 2 maybe, but we'll see.
I mean, the first Wreck-It Ralph didn't even make that much.
It did good enough, though.
It did. Yeah, but it made less than 200 million. So I mean, like big money, big money. Spider-Verse I don't know about Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse will probably be like a Finagle thing, though, won't it? Or is it going to get a theatrical release?
It's getting a theatrical release for sure.
I don't know if there's like Fallen Kingdom might try, but I don't know if it's going to succeed.
Fallen Kingdom, I think, will do well, but not as well as Avengers.
I don't either, but it's going to try.
Here's my question: does Infinity War break Black Panther's box office in the U.S.?
I think that's going to happen.
It surpassed it on opening weekend, but does it do it overall?
I think so. Yes.
So here's where Black Panther is over right now: 688 million domestic, and 1.3 billion worldwide. I think worldwide it can make 1.6 to 1.8 billion. What do you think?
I think you're probably right. Maybe even 2.
But can it beat 688 million domestic?
I want to say yes.
Okay.
It's already a third of the way there, right?
Yeah, but it's just going to depend on how it does next weekend, really.
I think it'll
have a big drop off or not.
I don't think so, because there isn't really anything really big coming out next weekend to give it competition, right?
I think. Let me see. Next weekend, I think you're right. I don't think there's anything.
I don't think anything's going to come out that's going to be close until Deadpool 2. That's not until the 18th. So we have a few weeks where it can keep driving momentum easy.
Yeah, but the movie, I think the movie is getting good word, even though people are devastated going out. Like, I think people recognize that this is a very important movie you have to see.
Well, it's not just that. I've heard fans who aren't even Marvel fans say you need to see this movie now.
Well, I think
not only that, but people will see this movie more than once easily. I already know people have seen it 3-4 times already.
I think this movie does reward you if you've been watching the movies for the last 10 years.
Yes,
don't you think?
I agree. But this is a movie where you don't have to necessarily be a Marvel fan to enjoy it.
I agree. So let's see. May?
Not till Deadpool 2.
Bad Samaritan. Holly over. Yeah, those aren't big. Life of the Party.
That was really stupid.
No.
So until the 18th and the 25th.
Yeah, you're right. Nothing major is really coming out until everything is staying far away from Avengers: Infinity War.
Yeah, so it's not until the 18th and the 25th. Although fair enough, they did push Deadpool 2 forward, didn't they?
Right. They did. But then Avengers moved Avengers was supposed to come out next week.
Yeah.
So they moved Avengers forward too. Here's what did surprise me though. Rotten Tomatoes, the movie only got 84%.
Yeah, 84.
That's here, and now here's why that surprised me. I like Last Jedi. You like Last Jedi too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree if Infinity War was better than The Last Jedi?
Absolutely.
Don't you? I mean, and this movie did not get as good reviews as Last Jedi. Isn't that a little weird?
The only reason it doesn't surprise you that much is because I think when people are writing their reviews, they're still feeling the pain of the movie. I think is what's happening.
But I mean, it's good to feel that way, I think, sometimes.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but it would. If I wrote a review of this, it would affect my review too. Because like you're like if you especially if you write it like after you saw it, you're like those wounds are still there.
But I mean, because this is a cliffhanger. At least there's a feeling that even though all of our heroes are dead, they can maybe bring them back, because if you get the Infinity Gauntlet, you could maybe undo what happened, I think.
You have to remember, though, a lot of the fans, at least a lot of people see this movie, don't know that. They think they're gone for good.
Here's an interesting spoiler. The comic story this is based on, Infinity Gauntlet, the snapping the fingers thing, that happens in the first chapter. Thanos snaps his fingers, no one's around to stop him, and he wipes out half the universe, and then after that, all the heroes gather to fight him, basically. That's the Infinity Gauntlet. That was like the first major crossover with Thanos. So. What was the most surprising aspect of the movie for you?
The ending. Just just the wave of Ash death, like all the people who just died that didn't expect to die. That was the biggest shocking part for me.
Who was the most shocking character to go for you?
I was really surprised at T'Challa. That one really blew me away. I didn't see that coming.
Was there a I didn't expect T'Challa to go that soon either.
Yeah, I was blown away by that.
Favorite character for this film? Gun to the head, who was the one standout character in this film for you?
Tony Stark.
Okay.
He was amazing.
Iron Man.
He just was great from start to finish.
Robert Downey Jr., the always reliable Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. All right, so that was our spoiler cast. It was a bit long, a bit of a long discussion for us, but worth the wait, don't you think?
I think
a good movie that was worth the wait. So now we can finally move on to our next topic. I think we'll go ahead and talk about, before the movie came out, Sony released a new trailer for Venom. I would say a little bit better than the teaser trailer.
We got to see Venom, so that's good.
We got to see Venom. That was good. Did you like the new trailer, Jay?
Let's put it this way. I liked it more than the last one.
Right.
Because we see more of the symbiote. We see more...
It's pronounced symbiote, okay?
Symbiote, fine.
Symbiote. They say symbiote, but that's like no one said... It's like George Bush saying nuclear. It's nuclear.
Anyways, so moving on. So we see more of the symbiote.
Yeah.
And we see more of Eddie Brock kind of fighting with it. And we see more of where at first he's like, hey, where you're at is not where I'm at. So it's not the Eddie Brock where he's like, I hate Spider-Man, let's both kill Spider-Man. It's not that Eddie Brock. It's not that Venom. It's not that symbiote.
But we hear the symbiote can talk to him in this movie.
Yes.
That wasn't in, they didn't do that in Spider-Man 3, because the symbiote, it is alive and it does have its own personality. And we do see it transform. We actually see it transform into Venom, and Venom looks pretty cool, I think.
Doesn't look bad. It looks good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, it looks good, but I'm still not like, man, I need to go see this movie now. I'm just like, okay, at least it's a better trailer, but.
And at least he says we are Venom.
True.
We never got that in the in Spider-Man 3.
Me though, or did Venom just kind of look? The CGI looked kind of cheesy. It didn't look as. It didn't look.
I mean, it's not the best I've ever seen, but it looked
Me
okay.
neither.
I thought it looked okay. But do you want to know what?
It looked a lot like the CGI that they had in Spider-Man 3. There wasn't much of a difference there.
I mean, it didn't look like the same Venom though. Venom looked different though, I think.
Yeah,
it looked very different.
But
Here's
Eddie
one
Brock
thing.
Was still bigger, wasn't he?
Maybe, but
Eddie Brock's a bodybuilder, and I'm sorry, Tom Hardy does not look like a bodybuilder in this.
Well, Eddie Brock doesn't have that terrible accent either. Come on.
That's true.
Doesn't Tom Hardy's accent in the movie sound ridiculous?
It just bothers me that, because even we've seen in the Spider-Man cartoon, we've seen at least like the big giant, muscular, huge Venom. Even there we saw that. So here Venom still looks too thin to me, which is kind of weird. Here's why I disagree. We only see a brief upper body shot. We see him like from like this up. We don't see any of what we don't see his torso, Jay. So we don't really see what he's packing down there, if you know what I mean. I know, but it just didn't look like big enough.
We'll see. I mean, we didn't really see that much. I feel like though, if we saw that in the first trailer, they'd have better buzz for this film right now.
And we still don't necessarily know because it's going to be another anti-hero film. But there's still going to be a villain, right? We don't know. Like
We
there's
don't know.
talk of
Yeah, there's apparently two symbiotes. We don't know
okay.
what the other one will be.
Well,
We don't know.
they've said it might be Carnage,
I
but
don't
there's
think it's
no
going to be
proof of that.
Carnage.
But
I
there's no
think they're
proof
going
of
to
that.
build up to Carnage. We'll see though. Here's the other thing. Here, you want to know what the trailer reminded me of?
What?
The 2007 Ghost Rider movie. And that's it. It didn't look. Here's my doing a Venom movie without Spider-Man. I kind of don't like that, honestly. That's kind of my problem.
It's weird, yeah.
It's weird. It's like Venom on his own. Venom has never been a good character on his own, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I'm not.
This is a movie where it may be good, but I'm not excited for it. You know.
I'm not excited. I'm not excited as I get for like a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. We did get a new announcement for Star Wars. So now that Star Wars Rebels is over, they're going to do a new animated series, and we found out that the animated series is already coming this fall. So Rebels ended in March, so we only have to wait till the fall until we're getting the new series.
And you kind of predicted this; it is going to take place before Force Awakens,
right?
That whole 30-minute or 30-year area.
Right. Well, not a lot. It's probably going to be a short time before Force Awakens. So the new show, it will be an anime-inspired series called Star Wars Resistance, set for fall debut. Dave Filoni, who created the Clone Wars and Rebels, is the creator for the new show. We got one piece of artwork, so let me see.
Yeah, it was where BB-8 was on the back of a plane.
Yeah, so, well, not on the back. We see like an X-wing on one side and BB-8 on the other. I'm trying to look for the plot synopsis.
Was there an official one yet?
Yeah, there was some stuff.
Okay.
Well, here is this. The show will feature the beloved droid BB-8 alongside ace pilots, colorful new characters and appearances by fan favorites, including Poe Dameron and Captain Phasma, voiced by actors Oscar Isaac and Gwendolyn Christie, respectively.
Now, the only thing I hope they don't do with this, because one thing they did with the Freemaker Adventures was they backed themselves into a corner. So I hope they don't do that with this.
Well, I mean, the Freemakers is Lego, and it's for little kids, you know.
But it was still Star Wars, and it tried to follow like the time before Episode 4, 5, and 6, but it backed up to a corner and moved too fast.
I think Rebels did a better job with that, though.
That's what I mean. Rebels, like they gave themselves enough of a window where they could do enough seasons. Even then, 4 seasons was kind of it, you know. Where Clone Wars, they didn't do that, right? They didn't back themselves in a corner with Clone Wars, did they?
Because they did 6 seasons of Clone Wars,
you
know? And I feel they kind of did, but Clone Wars was never my favorite show anyway.
Okay. So I just hope they don't back themselves in a corner with this. They give themselves enough of a window where they can, like, you know, go fast or slow as they need to be. Not just having to go fast all the time, right?
All right. There was some more information. So, there was another thing about this show that had a little more. There was another press release, I believe. I'm trying to find that because it had some other character. So basically, this show, the protagonist of this show will be a spy who's given a mission by General Leia to spy on the First Order. So this is all before Force Awakens. Let's see. Okay, here we go. A young pilot named Kazuto Xiono, recruited by General Leia's Organa's burgeoning resistance for a top-secret surveillance mission to survey the growing power of the First Order. The series will focus on Kazuto and a cast of ace pilots, but will also feature familiar voices from the sequel trilogy in the form of BB-8, Poe Dameron, and Captain Phasma. So it's basically going to be like a spy series, and like spies. Like,
I find it weird it's going to be on the Disney Channel. They're moving everything there.
No. The premiere will be on the Disney Channel. The whole series will be on Disney XD.
Oh, okay, good.
So same thing they did the same thing with Rebels when it came on.
Okay.
But then Disney is also starting a streaming service next year, and we don't know. Like, apparently, they're going to want a lot of original content for that as well.
It says uncharted time frame, so we don't know how early it's going to be before. Interesting.
Okay, so what was the other? There was some other business there. Where was I'm looking for my other link on this. For this type of story, imagine like it's World War II, and the Allies are spying on Nazi Germany. That's kind of the tone they're going for. What do you think about that?
And that's kind of going to be interesting. I think that'll be interesting to see.
And it looks like it'll be new characters. Here's the voice cast.
Yeah, I see it.
Christopher Sean, Susie McGrath, Scott Lawrence.
Ooh, Donald Faison, nice. I love him.
Yeah, interestingly enough, when I went to the premiere of Star Wars Rebels, Donald Faison was there.
Yeah.
And he was Donald Faison from Scrubs. So I
guess Bobby Monahan, who voices one of the nephews on DuckTales.
Right. And Jim Rash from Community.
Now, who's Scott Lawrence in Legion?
I don't know. I'll have to. But Jim Rash. You know who Jim Rash is on DuckTales? He's Gyro.
Yeah, he's also one of the nephews.
No, he's Gyro.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it says Community on here, so.
Well, I mean, that Community was his claim to fame. But he also voices where is it? Gyro Gearloose? Yeah, he's Jim Rash is also Gyro Gearloose on the new DuckTales. So there you go. Who does Bobby Moynihan? Bobby Moynihan is Louie. And Rachel Butera. So a pretty good cast assembled for this show, don't you think?
I do.
What do you so how does it feel to know that right after Rebels End we're getting a new show this fall with Star Wars?
Pretty nice, actually. I'm pretty excited for it.
All we have is this one image though, so we don't have much of an idea of what the artwork is going to look like. But apparently it's going to have an anime inspired look. I hope it looks more like the new Voltron series. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Would you like it if it looked more like something like, say, Voltron than Rebels?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of.
What animation style do you prefer, Rebels or Voltron Legendary Defender?
I almost like Rebels a bit more because sometimes some of the things they do on Voltron is just a little silly, like some of the expressions. They did the same stuff in the new Ninja Turtles, the most recent one that was on Nickelodeon. They did that where they'd have like the little emotions and things like that, and it's not bad, but it can get excessive fast. So Rebels didn't really do that. I like that.
Okay.
So I'd prefer to see that because it's nice to see that once in a while. It's cool once or twice, but after a while it can get excessive if they do it too much. So
I wonder though if they'll continue any characters or threads from Rebels though.
Well, we might see we might see Syndulla maybe, but that'd be it, right?
Well, she had a son too. We don't know what happened to her son though.
That's actually very true.
The thing is,
and maybe an older Ezra. Who knows?
See, Rebels ended after the Battle of Endor.
Yes.
So this would be about, I would say, 25 to 30 years later, basically.
Well, the problem is, it says uncharted time frame prior to the events of Force, because it could be 10 years after the Battle of Endor, for all we know.
That's all. That's true. That's true.
And if it's that way, we could see Syndulla and her teenage son. We could see Ezra still alive. We could.
You know what else we could see the origin of Supreme Leader Snoke. Everyone's been debating that.
They need to do that because that was one of the worst things about Last Jedi, in my opinion. And then we could see oh god, I can't remember her name.
Sabine and Ahsoka?
No, I mean god, what was her name? It's S something. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Ezra?
No, the girl, the Mandalorian. What was her name?
Sabine.
That's it.
Sabine Wren.
Yes, and then we'll probably see Sabine because it's really interesting how they ended Rebels. The only one who really passed was freaking Doom, and that's it. Everyone else survived. Which is kind of interesting.
I think that Kanan died and one of the clones died. One of her. Yeah.
So that was an example of like, hey, we thought this was going to be a bloodbath, and it really wasn't. So who knew?
Right. You want to know why? Because Dave Filoni is too sentimental.
Well, it's not just that. He probably already had this plan, and he probably will have some of them show up on here. It wouldn't surprise me.
Right. So that
Because if we saw Yoda in The Last Jedi, anything goes.
okay.
It's just shows. You think they're dead, they're not dead.
See.
So,
Well, Yoda technically still is dead. He's just
well, yeah, but you mean
one with the
he
Force.
showed up.
All right. You wanted to talk about this. So Nickelodeon announced that Double Dare last week is returning in a brand new series. So this comes straight from Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Here, let me read it. Nickelodeon is bringing back the original kids game show Double Dare this summer with 40 brand new episodes, giving a new generation of fans the chance to compete in the messiest and most physically challenging competition of their lives. With Double Dare remaining an iconic touchstones for its original millennial audiences. The new version will feature the gameplay and challenges they remember, as well as appearances from blasts from the past and stars of today. So the original Double Dare ran from 1986 to 1993, making it the network's longest running game show.
Now, what's weird about this thing to me is
right.
It's vague. It doesn't tell you, you know, if Mark Summers going to be back.
I think Mark. It sounds like basically that maybe they'll bring him back like as a special guest, but I don't think he'll be the regular host. It says
because I know he's still hosting. Didn't he have some show on GCN that like was?
I don't know what he did. He did the Comic-Con thing. Remember that?
I do. I remember hearing about it, and I remember where he does some other show now where it's like some college show, but like he still hosts. He still hosts shows.
I don't know. Like I mean,
it just seems to me if they did it without him, it'd be too weird.
He did like that reunion thing at Comic-Con, and he looks like he's doing okay for his age. Like,
yeah, so it'd just be
he's
weird.
He's got to be in his 50s now, right?
But it would just be weird to do this show without him. Is what I'm saying. If you brought the show back without Mark Summers,
I mean, he's 60 years old. I don't think they're going to bring him back to be the host. And I'm not trying to be.
I just wonder if they're not going to do him. Then who would they do? That's just my question. It seems like
it'd be like Chris Hardwick, maybe.
I don't know.
You know Chris Hardwick?
I know who he is. I just don't know. And he's busy with Midnight still, isn't he? Some other show.
Well, I mean, it could be anyone. I mean, who knows who it'll be?
Yeah, I just think that.
The point is the press release we got from Nickelodeon doesn't say who it's going to be.
Yeah, it's vague. I want to know more about it.
For all we know, they could be auditioning They could still be auditioning new hosts.
Yeah, like I'm excited for the news, but I want to know more.
So are you basically saying you wouldn't watch a Double Dare show without Mark Summer?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I want to know more. Really vague press releases like this bug me because I'm like I want to know more. You know,
like wait until you know who the host is going to be, then tell us, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because it'd be like if they said, "Okay, we're doing Star Wars Rebels. We're going to tell you nothing," or "We're going to do Star Wars." It'd be like if we said we're going to do Star Wars Resistance. We're going to tell you nothing about it. Just we're doing a new show. Okay.
Well, they're saying 40 episodes here, and it says new generation of trivia, stunts, ringers, hamster wheels, and nose picking. So that's all. I mean, yeah, it is very vague.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know that I thought Double Dare came on later than 1986 for some reason, but.
Well, I read a bunch of horror stories about it lately. That so they need to do it better if they do it, because I heard there was a lot of horror stories about like cleaning it and stuff like that. So.
Well, I hope everyone like when they're doing all that messy stuff. I hope it's like safe and non-toxic and everything.
Well,
like I hope the contestants and guests are safe from all that, and they don't get hurt.
But it's interesting they're doing this. But I want to know more about it.
Were you a big fan of Double Dare back in the day?
It was fun to watch. I don't know if I ever would have actually been on the show, but it was interesting to watch.
You know what?
It's kind of like Wild and Crazy Kids. It was fun to watch as a kid, but like you want to be on it, not necessarily.
You know what show? Do you remember What Would You Do?
I do.
That was the one I liked because it was more of like a variety show.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was they would pull people from the freaking and just bring them on there. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. It was like audience participation, and it was I enjoyed that. And that was when Nickelodeon still had the slime too. Remember the Nickelodeon slime?
Didn't they have the slime all the way up to? I want to say they actually still have it on the Kids' Choice Awards. I could be wrong, but I want to say they may still use it on that. But I know that they had it on. They had some show. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like where they'd have like people from all that on there, and you try to guess like why the person was on there. It was almost like a version of like To Tell the Truth, but it wasn't.
And remember the magic words that caused the slime to drop? What were the magic words?
I don't always remember them.
I don't know.
Oh, nice.
Whenever you say I don't know on Nickelodeon, you get slimed.
Because they originally brought it on, actually, originally I think it was on You Can't Do That on Television, and it
Right.
kind of just became a
You're
staple
correct.
from there.
That was like a Canadian show that they
And it
got
was kind of an odd show. I watched
right.
it, but it was a little odd.
It was like a Canadian kids sketch comedy show. They
Yeah.
got on Nickelodeon, and I think you're right. That's where they got the slime gimmick, right?
And it was weird because in those days Nickelodeon, it was still coming off the ground. It was still very bumpy, and it wasn't until like shows like Wild and Crazy Kids and
Ren and
and
Stimpy,
Double Dare and stuff like that until those shows where it started to get its footing.
and the Snick shows, and Are You
Those were
Afraid
the
of the Dark?
90s. Snick
Yeah,
Snick was the 90s, but in the 80s, like because Double Dare, I think was one of their
yeah, but
first big shows. To be honest,
the '90s is where it became like a big time
and
entity.
I agree, but like Double Dare, I think was one of the first shows to get it
No,
off the
yeah, because
ground,
Double Dare was 1986, and it ran from 1986 to 1993.
which I didn't know it ran that long. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also had all the spinoffs. They had Super Sloppy Double Dare,
Mm-hmm.
Family Double Dare, and they had a new version called Double Dare 2000.
Huh.
I don't remember when that one I don't remember.
Yeah, me neither. But I do remember they had the other shows. They had like the Treasure of the Hidden Temple. They had the
They did a spin-off movie for that one.
I heard about that, and they did also they had the one where you went to the giant mountain and got a piece of the mountain at the end. I don't remember what that one
And
was
I think
called.
there was a video game one too. Is that
There
right?
was, which is interesting. I remember that one, and that was in the days of Nintendo, so it was way back when.
Okay. So
But
Nickelodeon is now in its 39th year, FYI.
yeah, which doesn't surprise me.
Okay, so moving on from that, so we're getting a new Double Dare show coming out soon. We don't know who will host it,
Yeah,
but I get maybe like Mark Summer will come on as a special guest every now and again, but we'll see.
maybe we'll see.
I mean, if they don't bring him back, you kind of got to understand, because like usually, like they like young up and coming dudes as the host for these, don't you think?
Maybe.
Okay, so moving on. What do you want to do next? Guardians of the Galaxy or Agents of Shield?
Let's do Guardians of the Galaxy because that one's been kind of interesting, and it's basically
So we got so we're at mid season for Mission Breakout
yes,
right
and basically this is where we see the Collector come back because he's been gone most of the season. To be honest, we haven't seen him much since the first episode.
Well, we did see him talk to Howard in one of those last episodes.
But I mean, before that episode, we didn't really see him.
Right.
He kind of wasn't around anymore. We saw the Guardians doing all this other stuff, right?
Yeah, with Thanos and then blowing all their money.
And so we see Howard the Duck, which I think is wonderful to see Seth Green keep doing him. I think he does a great job as Howard the Duck. I really mean that.
Seth Green did Rocket a couple times too.
Huh, I did not know that. That's interesting.
And on Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, nice. And so we see, and since you've only seen the one episode, we see where I think they're trying to.
They go after Howard because he set him up, basically.
They go after Howard, and they go to nowhere to go after Howard.
Right.
And Phyla, I think, still thinks they're guilty. I think
she does.
And they find out. I want to say they find out that
they're fugitives from the Kree,
right?
Like Howard tricked them into stealing this Kree artifact
because the Collector made them, right?
Right, because the Collector was manipulating them all, basically.
Yeah.
And so now they're fugitives from the Kree, and they're trying to clear their names because the Collector is the real mastermind. And then, so the Collector was tricking Howard the Duck too, and
he really just wants revenge because they've ruined so many of his things, right?
Right.
That's why
from the beginning of the season. So I've been enjoying this season so far. I think the animation's been really good. It's kind of like basically with this show, it's been like the movie versions of the characters, and so they kind of took the first movie and go from there. I feel like Gamora and Peter have gotten a little more flirty, though, don't you think?
A little bit, yeah.
Not much, but I feel like they've kind of gone there a little bit more.
I just like this season we've seen Drax going kind of like that identity crisis. I think was a great part of the season because it was just so great. It seems like, well, I can't be the Destroyer anymore, so what can I do now? So I love that.
I like Phyla. I've been really enjoying Phyla in these episodes.
She's been good, yeah, and it's interesting to see another another accuser that's not Ronin, and definitely see they're not all alike.
You know who voices Phyla?
Yeah, Ming-Na Wen,
yeah, from Agents of Shield.
Yeah, so she's been pretty good, and like I said, because really the only accuser we've ever seen in the MCU is Ronan. I think that's it. We haven't seen any other accusers.
Oh, I went back and looked at the cast list. Remember the Identity Crisis episode for Drax, and he meets that guy named Triton?
Uh-huh.
Guess who voiced that character?
Who?
Talon Warburton.
Huh.
Talon, he's the son of Patrick Warburton, who is.
Oh, nice.
He's Lemony Snicket on Unfortunate Events.
He also actually does. Patrick Warburton does play a character who's shown up a few times now in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., actually.
And Patrick, he's done tons of cartoons and shows over the years.
Yes.
Putty from Seinfeld, he's Joe Swanson on Family Guy. So that's his son voiced that meathead guy trying to be Drax's student in that episode.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So this is a good episode. It ends on an interesting note. Phyla, we actually kind of see Phyla at a weak point at the end. Yeah. She's like devastated. So that was kind of interesting to see that side of her, because so far she's just been all aggression and revenge, and so it's interesting to see a different side of her. I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay, so I think this season's been pretty fun so far.
Not what we expected, but it's been fun.
Okay, so moving. Anything interesting going on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet?
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Goes in a really interesting place. The last episode. Because what happened in the last episode is the last remaining Hydra, leader Hydra, she has her daughter killed, so she pretty much goes to.
Oh wait, are you saying Ruby died?
Yes.
Oh wow.
And so
I wasn't expecting her to get killed off.
And well, it happens because Yo-Yo thinks that she was the destroyer of worlds. So they're still thinking this girl was the destroyer of worlds, and then so what happens is. Her mother pretty much goes, you know what, to this end, we should go down to there, take them all out. I don't care anymore. They all deserve it because my daughter's dead because of them. So we get to see this new species.
It's got to be Quake then, right?
We're still not sure, because what happens in the episode is General Talbot at one point decides to go into the same chamber that Ruby went in. But the interesting thing is he stays in the whole time, so he gets 100% of the gravitonium, right?
Right.
And she went crazy, he's getting 8%. But he goes in there, and when he comes out, he actually does save everybody, which is kind of interesting. So he's kind of a superhero now in a respect, which is kind of interesting. And it looks like he may be a new hero, but it also looks like he could maybe be the destroyer of worlds now, because he has amazing powers with controlling gravity and all this stuff. So he may now, for all we know, at this moment, he may be the destroyer of worlds now.
So has Fitz worked things out with Daisy yet?
No. There's still a lot of distrust, and a lot of emotions are still running high with the team just in general, because all that's going on is just getting worse and worse.
Do we have confirmation that Simmons is pregnant yet? That Gemma?
No, we don't have that yet. No.
Okay, but do you believe she's pregnant?
I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they've had time to do that with everything that's been happening, so I don't know.
I mean, they are married.
Everything that's been happening, I don't know where they'd have the time.
I mean, they are married.
True. But they've just, since they got married, it's just been boom, 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 one thing with another. It's just, so I don't know.
I mean, they still have probably slept at some point, or they were probably alone together at some point, right?
It doesn't seem like it. So I don't know yet.
Do you feel like this will be the last season, or they will continue?
I would like another season, but it's hard to say right now, because it's just right now, just when you think you have it figured out, it keeps making turns. So I don't know, but I will say this though: this season has been better than last season, because this season really has only had two big things happen. They went to space, they came back from space. Now they're like, okay, we're trying to find. So it's been one goal the whole second part of the season, which has been nice, because last season it shifted 3-4 times for many different reasons. So it's nice to see it only shifts twice. So it is such a big show for them. I want to say there could maybe be one more, but it's hard to say right now.
Now, this might not be of interest to everyone, but I thought it was pretty cool. The Avengers, we already know when the Avengers Infinity War is coming out on Blu-ray on August, it looks like August 14th, I want to say.
Is that confirmed?
It's on Best. It's available for pre-order on BestBuy.com.
I'm not sure if I trust that. I mean, it could be right, but maybe they made it up too.
It could be a placeholder date. You're correct.
Yeah, because it's hard to tell with those things.
But basically the film's up for pre-order right now. So if you go to bestbuy.com right now, and if you go to my link on, if you go to my Facebook page on Jeffrey Harris, you can find it. So this is the digital Blu-ray 4K Ultra HD collectible steelbook. I'm not a big steelbook guy, but I kind of want to get this one because it's Infinity War, you know?
Yeah, I just know that with that could be it, but I've seen those on websites before, and they could have just made that up, and it may change.
Right, you're correct. So we don't.
Because all you know could still.
All right, yeah. Here's what it's. I think they took it down because it says release date not yet announced. So, but it is the pre-order SKU. You can pre-order it right now, basically.
Yeah, and Walmart does it all the time. You can go into the store and pre-order stuff long before it comes out all the time. Just you don't know when the date is.
Would you get a steelbook? Are you into steelbooks at all?
No, I don't really care about steelbooks.
Okay. All right.
I wouldn't mind a review copy of this, but I don't want it on steelbook. I don't really care.
Any interest in that movie, Mary Shelley, coming out about the writer of Frankenstein?
You know, we talked about this last week a bit, and I think it looks interesting. I do, because
I just got a screening. I got a screening invite today, actually. So it's kind of curious.
It's such an interesting story, and really, it's one of those movies where everybody knows about Frankenstein,
right?
And I know a bit about it because they gave me once a review copy of a 3-part documentary about the whole Frankenstein thing, and her story is an amazing one. It really is. So I'd love to see it done in film. I really would.
Okay, so I think that about covers it for us today. We'll be back again soon. Oh man, so I hope this is not it for our favorite heroes of the MCU, Jay, because
we'll see. I don't know.
I still feel pretty beaten down. I feel pretty beaten down after watching that movie again last night. So
that's why I only watched it once. I don't want to feel that way again until I get a review copy.
All right. So if you listen to this spoiler cast of Avengers and all of our other musings on the entertainment industry, thank you very much.
And again, we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
We have 2 YouTube channels. You have a YouTube channel. I have one where we both post them. We're on Facebook. I put them on Tumblr. You know, so
Twitter.
You can check them out, and definitely be sure to like us and follow us on there, and check them out and share them.
All right. Yeah. You can go to 411mania.com right now. And check out my review of Avengers Infinity War. Check out my interview with Genndy Tartakovsky, the creator of such shows as Samurai Jack and the director of Hotel Transylvania 1, 2, and 3. I had an exclusive sit-down interview with him. Check out my write-up of the preview of Hotel Transylvania 3. That's all on 411mania.com. Thank you, everyone. And Jay, where can people find you online?
On the Arts and Entertainment section, my reviews of the next 2 episodes of Guardians of the Galaxy, the last 2 are on there, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You can find those reviews on there. And on my Facebook page, you can see a short, spoiler-free little review as well of what I thought of Avengers Infinity War closer to after I saw it.
All right, everyone. So, great. This is the Hollywood Purgatory podcast. This is where the entertainment industry goes to get judged. I am Jeffrey Harris. He is Jay Snook. Thank you, everyone, and Godspeed, Avengers. Da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. Thank you, everyone. Good night.